We have this other story that's really funny, actually, and this exemplifies the great problem. Check this out. Twitter labels Indiana AG's tweet of Valentine's Day meme that election was stolen from Trump. This is hilarious. Todd Rokita tweeted, "Happy Valentine's Day," and there's an image that says, "You stole my heart like a 2020 election. Happy Valentine's Day." And Twitter says this claim of election fraud is disputed and this tweet can't be replied to, retweeted, or liked due to a risk of violence.
Chef's kiss.
Memes. It's a meme.
Yeah.
He's not literally saying there was fraud. He's mocking the idea. It's Donald Trump as a cartoon and he's making fun of it. You can't even post memes.
Yeah, they went after a couple of my memes too on Instagram and Twitter, just deleted them, and I didn't even know. And I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Why me? I mean, they're satirical. They're meant to be funny. That's funny. That seriously makes people laugh. I don't think that's
objectively
that's not going to make anyone violent at all. And now we're at a phase where Instagram just announced a few days ago that they're going to be going and snooping through your DMs, your private messages, looking for hate speech to go after.
That's not new.
I know, but them publicly announcing it,
I think we have to
them
acknowledge
saying and being so emboldened by it is new.
We have to acknowledge the reality that that these platforms are. I think we've all been talking about this. They have a form of concentrated political power akin to basically a loaded gun on the table. They swing elections, they sway elections. So what do we do about it, right? That's what everyone says to me. It's like, okay, stop complaining, be brave, do something. I kind of agree with you. I think it's exposing the reality. And we need an army of whistleblowers inside big tech.
Well, you know, I've said this several times. I think the work you guys do is some of the most important work we have right now.
Your show brought us Richard Hopkins. Last time I was on the show, the mailman from Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania, sent us an email after watching your show and blew the whistle on the Postal Service. Signed an affidavit.
That's all you, man. I mean, we're just a bunch of people who sit around talking about stuff on the internet.
But for whatever reason, he watches your show more than any other show, and he came to Veritas tips at protonmail.com.
That's awesome.
Shameless plug. That's VERITAS tips at protonmail.com. It's encrypted. Hopefully, the NSA is not intercepting that email. And that Richard came to us, and Richard lost his job, Tim. Richard was fired from the Postal Service. First he was suspended, then he was fired. By the way, I think that's important because he has skin in the game. He's an actual person who is going to lose his career for the public's right to know something. He's not just saying something, he's giving up his livelihood.
Here's why I say what you do is so important, and actually why what Richard and others have done is even more important. I mean, for one, you can't do your job unless there's brave people willing to stand up and work with you to get that information out. More importantly, those brave people who are standing up are creating this atmosphere where these big shots, these fat cats, these corrupt individuals now have to keep looking over their shoulders wondering who's going to say, you can't do that. I'm essentially going to blow the whistle. It's like you were mentioning earlier, people at Facebook now have to worry. Who's the person there who's going to share what they're saying?
Luke, when they go to look at DMs, which is unconscionable and unethical for someone to browse private DMs, in the back of that engineer coder's mind is, wait, before I look at the DM, should I be worried if someone's looking at me? That psychological effect.
Exactly. And this is why they don't have any transparency or accountability to their actions, because if they did, people would know what they can and cannot say. They don't want you knowing it because they want this fear effect. They want this chilling effect where you have to worry about your butt and worry about what you're thinking about, because when you're censoring words, you're censoring what people can think, essentially. And we also have to understand on the bigger point here, these are not private capitalistic entrepreneurship organizations. You look at the seed funding, look where they came from. Look right now at their tax incentives, the visa programs, their data sharing surveillance programs, the government contracts that they receive. These are entities that are in line with a lot of government institutions that are working hand in hand together.
In many ways, government is downstream from these institutions.
Yes, and then they work hand in hand, and they're pushing this agenda together. And I think once we address that, we have to understand these are not just private entities that are private companies, pick and choose. They're not. They're not that at all. They are monopolies at least.
That's a great observation. I was thinking as we were talking that there could be some software developer that's like, I'm going to blow the whistle on Facebook. I'm going to deliver all the code to Project Veritas. That wouldn't work because unless we use the government to regulate these people and to actually change the software license and do it right, you could get rid of the code and they can just change it. So we have to acknowledge that these guys are basically quasi-government organizations and should be treated such.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for the time being, I mean, things are demoralizing.
I want to leave Twitter. I don't want to leave Twitter, but when I see the way they're treating you, like this ridiculous.
Well, I can tell you right now, there's someone watching this who does work for Twitter or Google or Facebook. I guarantee it. And we have so many sources and whistleblowers coming to us right now. It's beyond what you can fathom. I mean, we have untold dozens, over 100 whistleblowers right now, recording, watching. I'm talking about the CEOs of these companies. And if you're watching this right now, just like Richard Hopkins a few months ago, send us a note. I think the solution is exposure. I think they don't fear the United States government anymore. All these people, these politicians they almost like they suck up to CNN. All they ever do is go on CNN. I don't even know what these Congress critters actually do. What do they actually do?
Well,
because all I ever see them doing is going on Instagram, which is owned by Mark Zuckerberg, and going on television. Do they actually create any laws? I guess they don't, because government is in a state of sclerosis, so they can't pass legislation. So all they do is go on tech platforms. They are beholden to tech. They suck on the teat of big tech.
Where would AOC be without Twitter and Instagram?
Nowhere.
Twitch.
The government, just like Alexander Solzhenitsyn said, the media has more power than all three branches of the government. And what laws are they beholden to? When they say, you are not allowed to talk about this or that. It is akin to the United States Supreme Court changing the Constitution and saying, First Amendment applies, except when you talk about, applesauce.
You want to know something really crazy that I was reading? And guys, definitely, if you're listening, fact check me on this one. I was reading some post. It was a conservative who posted this, that Trump's own lawyer in the impeachment trial believed the very fine people hoax up until he had to research the evidence to defend Donald Trump. Then realized the media had been selectively editing what Trump had said, and Trump definitively denounced white supremacy after Charlottesville. And, well, the media cuts it out of context, like they did with the Shinzo Abe fish feeding thing. And this lawyer didn't know that about Trump until he was investigating because he had to go over the evidence.
Yeah.
How many people think they're informed because they read the news? They read what Facebook allows to be shared, and they actually are just being fed garbage.
The amount of fake news, disinformation, and propaganda out there is absolutely insane to even fathom sometimes. It's like 1984, 2 + 2 = 5 is just keep being repeated.
You know that's a real thing, though,
yes,
right?
I know. It's I've seen everything. I've seen it unfold. But James, the one question I really wanted to ask you here: when you got hit by Twitter, was there any alternative social media platform that you were looking into fully transitioning away from Twitter?
So I take a unique position on this because I may take a stance that Tim, you don't agree with, or Luke, you don't agree with. I think that content is king. That I believe in distribution by proxy. In other words, if they ban me everywhere, which everyone's warning me about, okay, whatever. They ban me everywhere, and I get a hidden camera video of a federal judge taking a bribe. That's a 30-second video. I would simply send an email to my 500,000 people on my email list saying, please download this video and upload it to your Twitter. And they can't ban every. So content is king. Content, not platform, is king. I've always believed that. Everyone wants to create another platform. I thought this in the back of my head about Parler. By the way, Parler got banned. Okay, we're going to create another Parler.
Parler's back.
Parler's back. But and then I saw Parler banned Milo today. And
now he's back.
Oh, he's back. Okay,
right.
Well, there's all these updates about the platform, but at the end of the day, content is king. I didn't coin that phrase. That was the Viacom CEO. I forgot his name. But I believe that what was going through my mind, Luke, was that content is king. A good story will effuse its way and distribute its way, sort of like the black goo in the movie Prometheus. It will just sort of get out there, and there'll be a new paradigm. I don't know what the name of the next or the future platform will be, but what I do know is a good story is always lurking behind every corner. And again, distribution by proxy. So Telegram, we had 4,000 followers a couple weeks ago. Now we have 350,000 followers.
Wow.
And what we'll do is we'll send a Vimeo link and say, please download this clip and upload it into your Twitter. So if we're banned on Twitter, citizens can do it. What are they going to do? Ban everyone? They can't do that.
This is the funny thing. When TikTok had a bullying problem, there were people being mocked for their appearance or their weight. They realized something. Whereas Twitter bans the hate speech to protect the minority, TikTok realized, well, if we want to stop the bullying and we ban, say, 1,000 people bullying this person, that's 1,000 users we lose in our annual reports for our shareholders. Why don't we ban the person being bullied? Then there's no more bullying. So TikTok actually targeted the person who was a victim of the insults. That was clever. I bring that up just because in the instance of Twitter, well, they can't ban everybody because then they're going to have to issue a report saying we lost X many users this quarter. Oh, we banned them because we didn't like what they had to say.
Yeah, and they can't ban us today because if they ban us for the Zuckerberg story, every reporter that talks about it will have to say there's no doxing here. It's Zuckerberg on tape.
You know what the problem is right now, though? It's not fun anymore.
It's not what?
It's not fun.
Which part?
Twitter used to be fun.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
But they're getting rid of interesting people. Seeing a Trump tweet was hilarious. Mm-hmm. You know, the journalists would have panic attacks when Trump would tweet. That's weird. But I thought it would be funny when Trump would tweet something really silly, you know, like, not that he should have most of the time, but sometimes he would tweet funny and silly things. What did he tweet? Oh, yeah, when Elizabeth Warren was drinking the beer. Remember this? And her husband walks up, and then she's like, thanks for being here. Trump tweets, what do you mean? He's supposed to be there. It's his house. That was hilarious. It made it exciting. They're getting rid of anything that's like even remotely interesting on the platform.
I mean, and if they ban us today for publishing a videotape of Zuckerberg, every reporter who reports on the ban will have to include the facts about what Mark Zuckerberg said. That's why they won't ban us. Tim, I think there's a lot to this whole litigation.
That's a good one. Though, yeah.
I mean that. My producer just texted me. That's genius, Tim. Helping others with a litigation fund. That's a really important idea because so many people get defamed.
Yep.
And we have a recourse in the theory of defamation law.
Especially if they're not public figures.
And I'm a public figure. I have to prove what's called actual malice. I have to prove the person knew they were lying about me when they lied. But a non-public figure, Tim, if you're railroaded, discovery. This is a really good idea. I think the reason people haven't done this is because they don't know they can do it, and it takes I call it balls, resources, and willpower. Balls or huevos.
Fortitude.
Huevos. Cojones. Huevos. That's
Huevos.
the politically correct terminology.
Yes.
Eggs.
Eggs.
And I think it's a great idea. I think it's an excellent idea.
You can call it the People's Defamation Fund, PDF.
Yeah, PDF files.
PDF.
Yeah.
And people already, it's already in the back of their mind, PDF. They know
Well,
what
they
it is.
say the idea is 1% of it, 99% is the execution, but still.
I think if you launched, not a GoFundMe, because they would ban you in 2
They'd
seconds.
ban you, yeah.
But if you launched any one of these other any other fundraisers, you'd instantly raise enough to just hire an executive manager or whatever to run the fund.
Listen,
and then
I'm
build
going to say it on your show right now. If we get the New York Times to give us money, which I'm betting my reputation on it, so it's going to happen. Yes. We're going to use some of those proceeds to start this this idea that you have. I like this idea.
You mean the idea that I brought up?
The idea that you had.
It
Credit
doesn't
to
matter.
Luke.
But another
I
thing,
named it.
But another thing to I mean, I remember starting off, and when I was still just no one, not a big reputation, getting slandered and attacked by the mainstream media, and also other instances where they literally took my videos that I did, my live reporting on protest, and they claimed it as theirs so many times.
Didn't they call you like a non-shrinking violet or something?
Yes, that was the New York Times.
What was that quote?
That was in Luke Rudowski is armed with a video camera and a YouTube channel, and definitely is not a shrinking violet.
Nice.
That was the New York Times perspective, and that was actually fair reporting on their part, which was really interesting because they actually quoted me correctly when other news organizations literally took quotes out of context, put them together to make them sound bad, or as if I was pushing for some kind of violent action, which I of course never was. I believe in total nonviolence. Always have advocated for that. But for them, especially when I was starting off, especially when I didn't have a big following, they would just take everything I did. Take my live reporting, take my photos, take my videos, claim it as theirs, and then when I became prominent, they started slandering me, and I'm like, what's going on here? I actually started talking to some lawyers, and let's just say they don't steal my videos, they don't steal my photos anymore.
But a lot has changed in the last 7-8 years. The world has changed. The New York Times went bad.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday with Will because even with that New York Times weapons of mass destruction lie, there was still some kind of understanding that the New York York Times tries to tell the story. And even then, when they got caught with the WMDs, they admitted it. They talked about it. There was some repercussions behind it.
Judith Miller.
They faced some real actions because of that. Still, not enough comparatively to the lie that they sold the American public and the hundreds of thousands of people that died and the radicalization and immigration crisis that came out of it. But still not enough. But there was still this kind of veiled understanding that they're trying, that they made a mistake, that they're going to do their best. They even interviewed me a couple times, and they did honest, real reporting. But now all of that's gone. That whole perception, that whole understanding that they're even trying, they're not even trying anymore. They're blatantly slapping the American people upside the face. They're obsessing about race. They're obsessing about all this other stuff that divide and conquers us, so we fight each other and we don't focus on the real issues, the actual things that do affect us. Especially after 2012, their decline is evident, and they're not the same New York Times that they're known for.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.